Welcome to Trivia Clips, where rock meets stories you've probably never heard. Today we uncover the unknown band that helped shape Green Day's sound. And no, it's not the Ramones. Green Day's origins. Before the Grammy Awards, platinum albums, and sold-out stadiums, Green Day was just a group of teenagers from California's East Bay. In 1987, Billie Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt formed a band called Sweet Children. They played wherever they could, garages, basements, backyard parties, anything to get on stage. What they lacked in experience, they made up for in passion and energy. But while most kids were listening to mainstream rock, these guys were soaking up a different kind of sound. Something raw, political, fast, and loud. And that sound was coming from a small band that never made it big, but made a massive impact on the punk scene around them. Meet Operation Ivy. The band that inspired Green Day more than any other was Operation Ivy. Formed in Berkeley, California in 1987, Op Ivy, as their fans called them, combined punk rock with ska in a way that hadn't been done before. Their songs were fast, chaotic, and filled with lyrics about unity, politics, and staying true to yourself. They weren't on the radio. They didn't have a hit single. In fact, their entire existence only lasted about 2 years. But what they created in that short time laid the foundation for a whole generation of punk musicians, including Green Day. Why Operation Ivy mattered. Operation Ivy wasn't just a band, they were a movement. They played regularly at 924 Gilman Street, a DIY, all-ages venue that banned major labels, violence, and big egos. It was the epicenter of underground punk in the Bay Area, and it's where Green Day found their identity. Every show at Gilman was pure energy. No security, no fancy lights, just raw, unfiltered punk. Green Day watched Op Ivy up close, absorbing their stage presence, their sound, and most importantly, their values. The message was clear. Music could be rebellious and meaningful. You didn't need a record deal to make noise. You just needed something to say. The influence you can hear. You don't have to look hard to hear Operation Ivy's influence in Green Day's early albums. Songs like Going to Pasalacqua and 2,000 Light Years Away carry that same energy. Quick chord changes, urgent lyrics, and melodies that hit fast and hard. Billie Joe's songwriting was clearly shaped by the example Op Ivy set. Keep it real, keep it loud, and don't overthink it. Even the attitude that runs through albums like Kerplunk and Dookie feels like a direct extension of what Operation Ivy stood for. Green Day modernized that sound, added their own twist, and brought it to the masses. But the DNA of East Bay punk is still there, buried under every guitar riff and scream. More than just influence. Green Day's respect for Operation Ivy didn't stop at admiration. In interviews, Billie Joe Armstrong often mentions how the lyrics and energy of Op Ivy kept him grounded. At a time when punk was either going corporate or disappearing, Operation Ivy reminded them what it meant to stay true. And while Green Day eventually signed with a major label, something Operation Ivy never did, they brought that underground spirit with them. From their live performances to their anti-authority lyrics, the soul of that early punk scene stayed alive through their music. The legacy lives on today. Operation Ivy is still a name spoken with reverence in punk circles. Even though they never got mainstream fame, their songs continue to influence new generations of punk and ska bands. And Green Day, perhaps their most famous students, have made sure that legacy stays alive, on stage, in interviews, and through the music itself. Without Operation Ivy, punk may have taken a different turn. And Green Day? They might have never become the band we know today, a tribute in Green Day's DNA. Years later, even after becoming one of the biggest rock bands in the world, Green Day never forgot where they came from. In 2011, they started performing under a side project called The Cover-Ups, where they played small shows for fun, just like the old days. On the set list, you guessed it, Operation Ivy covers. It was their way of paying tribute. A thank you to the band that lit the fuse and showed them what was possible. And for fans who knew the history, it was a beautiful full-circle moment. Outro ever heard of Operation Ivy before this video? Let us know in the comments. And if you're into rock stories like this one, hit subscribe and stick around. This is Trivia Clips, where music meets memory. Rock on!